My son told me I deserved to be deceived until he discovered his dad had taken his university savings to escape with his secret lover who didn't even desire him. Hi Reddit, I'm posting here. My name is Robert and I'm 48 years old. For much of my grown-up existence, I thought I was creating something stable, something valuable to give up things for. I labored diligently, remained faithful, and believed I was providing my family the existence they merited. I never pictured that my deepest sorrow wouldn't stem from my husband's infidelity, but from my own son's dismissal of me when I required his empathy the most. Until around a year back, I felt I had it all sorted. I'd been wed to Alex for 20 years, and we had a son named Jordan who had recently become 19. Jordan was smart, leading his class, a skilled painter with ambitions of attending a prestigious college. From the instant he arrived, I vowed to myself that he wouldn't need to fret about chances. I desired for him to possess all that I lacked in my youth. I'm a high-level operations manager at a production company. It's a challenging profession, one that frequently demands 12-hour shifts, occasional weekends, and sporadic journeys out of town, but it compensated generously. Over time, I advanced steadily from a beginner role to my current spot, making a solid six-figure income. With that, we purchased a spacious house in a secure area, enjoyed international vacations as a family, and crucially, I accumulated a university fund for Jordan that grew to almost $120,000. Every late hour I toiled, I reminded myself this was for his tomorrow. For quite a while, Alex appeared to embrace this. He remained at home following Jordan's birth, stating it was vital for someone to attend every school performance, every football match, every meeting with teachers. I didn't object, I viewed it as a solid setup. He'd manage the household and I'd handle the providing. But roughly 3 years passed, Alex shifted. Initially, it was minor. Cutting remarks about my extended work hours, ironic quips about me being wedded to my occupation. Then it escalated to disputes. He charged me with prioritizing my firm over my loved ones. He began claiming Jordan was maturing without a parent, despite my efforts to attend every concert, every major occasion. The true strike arrived when I uncovered he wasn't merely grumbling. He was unfaithful. 16 months ago, I unearthed irrefutable evidence. Hotel bills, hidden credit card expenses, midnight texts with a guy named Marcus he encountered via a gym club. When I challenged him, he didn't refute it. Rather, he declared it was my responsibility, my fault for laboring excessively, my fault for not being emotionally present. He stated Marcus offered him notice and made him feel vibrant in manners I never had. But the disloyalty that wounded the most profoundly wasn't his. It was Jordan's. When Jordan learned of the infidelity, I anticipated fury toward his father. I believed he'd perceive Alex's treachery plainly. Instead, he directed it at me. He said, "Mom, you've never been present. You valued cash more than us. Dad merits joy." Those phrases felt like blades. I had exhausted myself for his prospects, for his schooling, for the very existence he was experiencing, and yet he thought I merited to be deceived. Alex encouraged this notion, murmuring to Jordan that I had ignored them, that I compelled him into isolation. My son, my little boy who once lingered by the door for me to return from the office, now regarded me as though I were the antagonist. When I initiated divorce proceedings, Jordan selected his father's side without pause. He informed me he wished to reside with Alex and severed ties with me. He even testified in the proceedings that I had been a distant mother who only focused on her profession. His statements in court provided Alex advantage to request substantial support payments and a larger portion of our possessions. I forfeited a considerable amount of what I had constructed over 2 decades, all while Jordan stared at me as if I were the one who had ruined our household. I convinced myself I could endure losing my husband, but losing my son's admiration was intolerable. The reality, though, has a method of emerging forcefully. Months following the divorce's completion, Jordan's reality started to collapse. The initial fracture occurred when he found Alex had been covertly arranging to relocate across the nation with Marcus. Flight reservations, a rental contract for a single-bedroom unit in Texas. Papers Jordan came across while searching for documents. When he faced his father, Alex attempted to deceive, claiming it was for an upcoming family outing. But the proof was too evident. Jordan understood his father wasn't organizing a fresh existence with him. He was organizing a fresh existence without him. Then arrived the university fund. The account I had assembled for 18 years ought to have contained ample for Jordan's schooling. But when he examined it to cover his initial semester fees, Only $15,000 was left. The remainder vanished. Jordan assumed it had been entangled in the divorce, but after investigating, he revealed the truth. Alex had withdrawn nearly $105,000 from the account during the last 2 years. The schedule aligned precisely with his infidelity. Getaways, accessories, upscale lodgings, all funded with the funds intended for Jordan's future. When Jordan challenged him, Alex didn't express regret. He said it was shared funds. I had full authority to utilize it. Then he instructed Jordan to obtain student loans like others. The ultimate strike happened when Jordan viewed exchanges between Alex and Marcus. He had informed Alex straightforwardly that he didn't desire Jordan nearby, that he was mature enough to manage alone, and Alex concurred. He assured him Jordan wouldn't disrupt their existence. The identical man Jordan had protected, the man he had labeled a sufferer, was intending to desert him for a guy who viewed him as nothing but an obstacle. And abruptly, Jordan comprehended everything I had been stating was accurate. He phoned me one evening, weeping. He said, "Mom, I'm so regretful. I was mistaken about all of it. Dad, he was exploiting me. He took my prospects and I distanced you when you were the sole one who genuinely cared." I remained there quietly for a while. A portion of me desired to embrace him via the call, to assure him it was fine, to wipe away the hurt. But another portion recalled him positioned in that courtroom, directing his finger at me, charging me with demolishing our family. I eventually said, "Jordan, I'll always cherish you, but cherishing doesn't eliminate what occurred. You injured me profoundly. Confidence requires time to restore." He inquired if I could assist with fees since the funds were depleted. I informed him I'd contemplate it, but that he needed to demonstrate to me, not merely state, that he grasped the seriousness of what he had done, that he wasn't going to continue justifying disloyalty or faulting me when existence became difficult. Now Jordan is attempting to mend our bond. He messages me nearly daily, sometimes just minor news about his lessons or paintings he's creating. I observe endeavor, but I also observe apprehension, the apprehension of forfeiting me the way he forfeited his father's reliability. As for Alex, he relocated with Marcus. From what I've learned, it's already disintegrating. The guy he discarded his marriage and son for doesn't even handle him properly. Fate has its method. And me, I've begun to reconstruct my existence. I'm dating someone fresh, Sarah, a lady who appreciates my dedication to work rather than criticizing it. For the first time in years, I sense I don't need to express regret for supplying. But even with all that, the teaching is keen. Disloyalty from a partner aches, but disloyalty from your offspring can shatter you in ways you never imagined feasible. Now Jordan and I are in the delicate procedure of repairing, and although I don't know where we'll conclude, I do know this. He's discovered the reality about his father, and he's discovering the reality about me. And perhaps, just perhaps, that's sufficient to begin anew. It's been 6 months since that midnight phone from Jordan. Much has transpired since then, some positive, some devastating, some irritating. When Jordan initially expressed regret and conceded he had been incorrect, I'll confess I felt something awaken within me. For years, my universe had centered on him. He was my little boy, the cause I endured crazy hours, the cause I tolerated the pressure of overseeing multi-million-dollar initiatives, the cause I continued accumulating cent after cent instead of acquiring for myself the items I once craved. So when he said, "Mom, I require you," part of me desired to rush in and resolve everything. Settle his fees, purchase his textbooks, handle his housing costs, and protect him from the results of his decisions. But another part of me, a more seasoned, more injured part, restrained. Because the fact is, Jordan hadn't simply erred. He had opted to align with Alex during the most unpleasant phase of my existence. He had opted to speak against me in court, to gaze into my eyes and declare I was a neglectful mother, aware fully what those words would inflict on me legally and sentimentally. And he had opted to support his father's infidelity while ignoring my suffering. So when he phoned crying about his father's deceptions, I told him, "Jordan, I cherish you, but confidence must be reconstructed. That doesn't occur instantly." At first, he appeared to comprehend. He messaged me every day, minor things like "Good morning, Mom," or "I hope your job is progressing nicely." Sometimes he'd forward me images of his drawings or news about his instructors. I valued it, but soon I detected a trend developing. About 2 months after our initial discussion, Jordan phoned me once more. This time, his voice wasn't merely remorseful, it was imploring. He described that his fees invoice was due once again, and the aid department wouldn't permit him to enroll for courses without settlement. He said, "Mom, if you don't aid me, I'll have to quit. Please. I don't want to squander all your years of devotion. I'll make you proud. I promise." I was silent for a bit, then questioned him, "What about your father? He was meant to assist you with the support and agreement funds he battled so fiercely for." His response astonished me. Alex had informed Jordan directly that his schooling was his issue now. Alex was expending his funds on excursions with Marcus and wellness getaways, not school bills. When Jordan objected, Alex retorted, "You're grown now. Don't anticipate me to guide you." That was when Jordan collapsed. He sobbed and pleaded with me to intervene. He even said, "Mom, I was wrong to protect him. I recognize that now. Please don't penalize me by declining to assist. You're the only guardian I have remaining." I told him I'd reflect on it, but that evening I scarcely rested. His words felt like a dagger because deep inside, I knew part of what he uttered wasn't pure remorse. It was urgency blended with coercion. During this period, Sarah, my partner, became my support. She had witnessed the impact the divorce and disloyalty had imposed on me. When I shared with her about Jordan's pleas, Sarah heard attentively before posing a query that rattled me. "Robert, are you aiding Jordan because you think he's genuinely transformed, or because you still feel culpable for being the overworking mother he charged you with being?" It hurt because she was correct. I did feel culpable. I still recalled skipping Jordan's junior high art exhibition because I was trapped at a business supper. I still recalled his expression when I showed up tardy to one of his guitar performances. Even though I knew I had done all that to supply for him, a part of me always dreaded he was right, that perhaps I had been too missing. Sarah reminded me, "Don't mix affection with facilitating. If Jordan desires your aid, he must regain your confidence, not just request an open payment." That evening, I resolved that if I was going to aid Jordan, it wouldn't be without conditions anymore. I met with Jordan over supper at a modest eatery he adored in his youth. He appeared anxious, almost as if preparing for denial. I told him, "I'll assist with some of your costs, but I'm not going to simply provide you cash and act like nothing transpired. If you want me in your existence, you have to invest the effort." He asked what I implied, so I outlined requirements. Openness. If I aided with fees, he would display me his scores, participation, and advancement. No concealments. Responsibility. He had to labor part-time to handle at least some of his expenses. No more depending completely on me. Esteem. If he desired a connection, he had to cease referencing Alex's account of happenings and recognize the hurt he inflicted on me. His eyes brimmed with tears, but he consented. Or at least he claimed he did. For the initial few months, Jordan upheld his vows. He labored at a nearby library, forwarded me his scores, and maintained communication. I felt optimistic. I even settled his term up front to stop him from being removed. But gradually, I observed former behaviors returning. He began requesting minor favors, funds for a fresh computer, additional money for painting tools, fuel cash because his position didn't compensate sufficiently. At first, I yielded, but then one day, Sarah spotted something. While browsing online networks, Sarah viewed Jordan sharing images of evenings out with companions, costly meals, weekend escapes, high-end attire. It didn't match his narrative of a striving learner. When I challenged Jordan, he dismissed it. He said, "Mom, I'm permitted to enjoy life. Don't behave as if I'm misusing funds. My pals handle most of the expense. I just contribute a bit," but I could sense he was deceiving. The decisive moment arrived 3 months ago. Jordan phoned me in distress, stating he was lacking on housing payment. He implored me to transfer him $800 right away. Something in his voice seemed wrong, so I paused. When I urged him for specifics, he erupted. "Why do you always need to question me? Why can't you just aid without making me feel like I'm pleading?" His words mirrored Alex's former charges, that I prioritized authority over kindness, that I was distant, calculating, insensitive. It was as if my ex-husband's spirit was communicating through my son. I told him resolutely, "Jordan, I won't be coerced. If you want my aid, you need to be truthful. Otherwise, I can't continue this." He disconnected the call. It's been weeks since that conversation. Jordan has contacted a few times, mostly brief messages like, "Hello, Mom, I miss you," or "Can we converse?" But I haven't replied yet, not because I don't cherish him, I do, but because I'm realizing affection isn't sufficient when it's repeatedly distorted into blame and duty. Sarah believes Jordan is at a turning point. Either he learns to accept duty and mature, or he persists in duplicating Alex's behaviors, faulting others, employing coercion, declining to confront outcomes. As for me, I'm conflicted daily. Part of me wants to save him. Another part knows that if I keep saving him, he'll never really alter, and maybe that's the toughest teaching of all. Sometimes cherishing your offspring means withdrawing, even when every urge yells at you to advance.